Hi, in this exercise, I'm going to show you how to download and also extract the dataset from the Drive project database. So to start downloading the dataset, what we are going to do is we are going to search for the Drive project paper that was published in Cell. Now, when you click on it, you can then go to the link of the paper, okay, where you can get the dataset. Now, however, unfortunately, so what you will see here is that one of the button, which is a supplementary info button, was actually missing because in order to access that, you need to have the full subscription or access to the full paper. Nevertheless, so well, I have already downloaded the data set, so you can actually, I will upload it into the Dropbox, so you can actually download it into your computer and have a look at it. Now, but what I want to point out is that basically, it, so if you go into the dataset that I have downloaded, so you can see here is that this is the dataset that I have downloaded here. There's two datasets here. One is one is named as a drive count data, another one is a shRNA gene map. Now, in both occasions, you will see that the extension is actually .rds. So if you click on this, so it will then prompt you to open it with a different software, which you cannot actually open it in most of the computer settings because the file format, the .rds file format, need to be read by using the R program software. So what we are going to do next is basically we have to download the R program. There are many different versions of the R program, but the one that I will introduce to you and the easiest to you was actually the R Studio. So it is a little bit more user friendly compared to the original R scripting program. So what you need to do is you go into the R Studio web page here, and then you can actually download the software and then install it into your desktop. So I think at this point you can actually download the free R Studio, which will be sufficient for this exercise. Okay, once you have finished downloading the R Studio and install it, you can then open it from your desktop. So it will look, the interface will look something like this, basically. Now, I won't go through in detail how to navigate through the R Studio. You can learn about it at your own time. But for this project purposes, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to open the RDS file that I have downloaded just now. Okay. So I will then go to the folder where I have stored the RDS file. So, okay, let me navigate through here and okay. So now to so I will to demonstrate to you. So I will open the smaller file size so it won't take so long. So I'm just going to import it in here basically. So you can then see that, okay, once you imported it, then you will see it appear here at the data. And if you click on it, basically, then it can actually let you to preview what is actually inside the file. And as you can see here, this is quite common, like typical spreadsheet format, like Excel. So now, the reason why most of this big data set was actually stored in the RDS format is because, well, using the R Studio or also the R program, what you can do normally is that you can actually directly write the script down here and then extract whatever information that is needed. And most of the time, you don't actually need the full data set to do the study. For example, in our case here, we probably want to extract just the pancreatic cancer data only. So, but nevertheless, so it is good to know that, well, you can actually extract a specific information from the RDS file, or if you want, you can actually export this out to the Excel format or the .csv format, which is more easily manipulated. Now, so to export that out, basically, you just need to type the script, okay, write.csv, okay, so now this part here, this parameter, this will be your the data set. So the name of the data set is actually shRNA gene map, and then what you want to do is basically you are going to write this data into a file called shrna genmap.csv, and then all you need to do is that you press enter, and then, well, so then it is done. Now, where is the file is being located? Most of the time, okay, by default, it will actually write into your user my document, the users and the my document files here. So you can see that, okay, it's under my document. So you can see that this file is actually converted from the RDS into the .csv file. And if you open this, well, the .csv file can be easily opened in the Excel format, so then you can actually have a look of all the data in the more familiar ways that you are used to. So now this is one of the file that you can open. So now if you want to open the other one, which is rather big, you can also do that. It will take a much longer time. Okay, so what I will do is I will going to try it here as well, so you can see that. Okay, once it is opened up, then you can see actually it appear on the data here. Okay, but as I said before, it will take a long time to open it because the file is about 1 GB size. Okay, big in terms of their size. So you can see that, okay, it is still opening. So well, until this red button, stop button disappear, then only then it will finish open it up here. Okay, now you can see that, okay, this drive count data file was now finally open. It takes about like 2 minutes basically. Even running on the Xeon processor here, there's about a 12 processor. It still take about 2 minutes to actually just to load it now. So if I click on it, then you can actually preview what is the data inside here. But again, because of the file size, it will take quite some time to actually display it as well. Okay, so after about 5 minutes, you finally manage to preview all the data inside here. Basically, there's quite a long row. Actually, there's about 76 million rows in this data set. So um, so that's why the file is so big. So what we are going to do next is we are going to execute the same process as how we convert the RDS file into the XLS. So basically you put in the command again. Oops, sorry. You can actually just copy from here. Okay. Then you can again, the command is write CSV, and then the file is actually drive count data. Okay, you can then copy here and then you just paste, okay, the source file here. Now, and then the output file would be the same but in .csv file. So now, note that what will happen is that after I click this enter, so it will take a really long time for it to process. Please don't switch off your computer if you do not see anything that is actually happening, and I can guarantee you that it is actually running then. Okay, and then sometimes it could take in a normal computer it could take sometimes up to an hour basically until you get the export file here. Now for the ease of the discussion, okay, and also the ease of time, so I'm going to show you what have been converted basically. So I will come back to the files that I have already converted beforehand. So what I'm going to show you here is how they are going to looks like. So now, okay, come back here again. Now well, you can see here is that this is the file that I have converted previously. So if I click on this one, so you can actually see the exported file as I mentioned just now. This is the shRNA map now, but the problem is that if you look at the drive count data that was converted, so now when you converted it to CSV, so it is still about 4.3 or 4.4 gigabytes with about 70 million rows. Now, if I click on here, the problem is that, well, in Excel, they will straight away prompt you and tell you that, well, it cannot be opened because the file size is just too big. So now you can see that, okay, file not loaded properly. Okay, why? Because Excel can only load files with up to 1 million rows and also 1 million columns. Anything bigger than that, it won't be able to handle it. And in our case here, we actually have about 76 million rows here. That is why even though after you have converted into the .csv file, you still not be able to use the Excel to actually open that. So, as I mentioned earlier, even though if you can convert this file into the .csv format, but you still cannot open it by Excel because the file is just too big. So what can you do with it? Now there are few options. Okay, one of it is that while you can use the R in the R Studio, you can write certain script to extract the information that you want. You can indicate from which row to which row that you want to extract it out into a smaller file that can be read by Excel. Okay, another way is that you can actually tell them, okay, to split the files into different smaller files based on certain attributes, for example, based on cell lines and so forth. And then again, you can then open individual files in the Excel as well. And both attempts, you will need to know a little bit of the R script, okay, so which I'm not going to cover here. If you want, you can explore it further. So there are a lot of websites that you can actually learn how to actually extract the information using the R Studio or the R program to actually from a particular data set. Now here what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you a particular software which I think is very useful, especially when you are dealing with a big data set like this. It is something called Delimit. Now you can download the trial version if you want to, which will allow you full access to all the functionality for a limited time, or you can actually buy the software, okay, and the license for it, which is actually cost about $49, okay, for a year. So now whichever way it is, now if you have downloaded or access to the limit software, this is how it will look like. So okay, so when you open this up, so you will see the interface is very similar compared to the Excel, except that, well, this can actually handle a much larger data set now that you can actually load and preview all the data set into the delimit, okay, where the Excel cannot. So the next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this I'm going to extract the information from this data set here by splitting them into a smaller file based on the cell lines that they have tested on each of the cell lines. Okay, so to split the big data set into individual files, okay, with their indicated cell line, so what we are going to do is we are going to use a split function in this program. So if you go to the pull down box here, then you can select split on column values. Then the pop-up box will appear, and then under the split on column part, you just select which column that you want to split it based on. In this case here, okay, I will select the clean name. Basically, this is indicating of the name of the particular cell lines. Okay, so then you can select where you want all these files to be extracted or split into. So I created one folder here, okay, so that all the individual file would then be split and into this folder here. Now the result file name. So what you can do here is that, well, you can actually use the value of this particular column. So in this case here, I will use back the name of this column here, okay, meaning that the file names that will be named after the cell lines for individual file. So and then I'm going to convert this into the CSV file as well. Then you can click the split, okay. So now what it will do here is that then it will start to split, okay, this big data set into individual file with the file names that is indicating the particular cell line. So you can monitor the progress bar here. Again, it is a lengthy process, so I won't wait for it to finish. What I will do is that, well, once it is finished, I'm going to show you how it will look like. Okay, once splitting is completed, you can then go to the folder, and then now you can actually open up the individual files, okay, which indicate for the data for each of the cell lines to explore it further in Excel. For example, if I'm going to open the SW1990 cell lines dataset, so it will then open it in Excel, so you can actually see the shRNA ID and then the sequence of the shRNA. Now, then you have two columns here. So one indicate plasmid count, another one indicate the sample count. So if you look at the original paper, the plasmid count is basically referred to the shRNA count from the control, and the sample counts actually refer to the shRNA count after the selection. So then, well, so you have one control, another one is the treater. So this is how the data set would look like basically. So now for this time of point base for at this point basically now um, you have about like how many, like probably about 398 cell lines data that is extracted. Now, so the question is that, okay, how do you know which cell lines is for what type of tumors and which one is for pancreatic cancer, for example? So what you can do is that, well, you can actually navigate into the the supplementary data from the paper. So again, well, I have downloaded this and I will upload this into the Dropbox so that you can have access to it. So if I go to the files that I have downloaded, okay, it is actually in the supplementary figure 2. So if I open this up, so it will tell you basically uh, what are the oh, cell lines that is included in the study. Sorry, I have to open this up again. Okay, here you go. Then you can see that, well, this is the name of the cell lines and this is where the primary site is, and also these are, okay, the pathologist annotation, whether they are carcinoma, sarcoma, and whatsoever. So that's it for now. So this exercise basically just show you how you can actually download and also extract the information from the Drive dataset.